Hey everyone, and welcome. So if you're a gardener who lives anywhere with a real winter, you know the feeling, right? That little bit of heartbreak every fall. You've spent a whole summer with these incredible, beautiful geraniums, and then the first frost hits and they're gone. But what if that wasn't the end of the story? Today, we're going to dig into how you can keep them going. Let's get right to it. This is the question, isn't it? Every single autumn, you see those temperatures on the forecast just dropping and dropping, and you think, well, that's it. It was fun while it lasted. It just feels so final. But here's the good news. It absolutely does not have to be the end. Not at all. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you can get those amazing plants through the winter, so you can bring all that incredible color right back again next year. Okay, so first, let's get to know the enemy, winter. For our beloved geraniums, this fight against the frost is an annual thing, and it all boils down to where they originally came from. So here's a little bit of plant trivia that's actually super important. The flowers we all know and love as geraniums aren't technically geraniums at all. They're pelargoniums, and they're native to the warm, sunny climates of South Africa. That means they don't have the gear to handle a deep freeze. It's not in their DNA. The science behind what happens is pretty simple and honestly pretty brutal. When the water inside the plant cells freezes, it expands and forms these tiny, sharp ice crystals, and those crystals literally shred the cell walls from the inside out. It's a catastrophic injury for the plant, so protecting them isn't just a nice thing to do, it's a matter of life and death for them. And get this isn't some new problem we're trying to solve. Gardeners have been at this for centuries. When Pelargoniums first showed up in Europe, way back in the 1700s, the Victorians became obsessed with them. They built these early greenhouses, called glasshouses, just to keep them alive. We're really just carrying on that tradition, but with much easier, modern methods. So, how do we actually do it? Well, we're going to look at 3 different really solid strategies. I like to think of them as 3 different paths you can choose from to get your geraniums safely from fall to spring. So here are our 3 paths. Path 1, the indoor companion, where you basically treat them like a house guest for the winter. Path 2, the winter slumber, where you put them into a deep sleep. And path 3, the next generation, where you focus on creating brand new plants from cuttings. Each one has its own pros and cons, so let's walk through them one by one. All right, let's explore path number 1, turning your geranium into an indoor companion. This is the perfect option if you're someone who'd love to see some green, and hey, maybe even some flowers right through the darkest days of winter. Now, the process here is pretty straightforward, but you do have to pay attention to the details. First, timing is key. Bring them in before it gets really cold. And please, and I can't stress this enough, check them for pests. You do not want to unleash a spider mite invasion in your house. Trust me. Then just give them a little haircut, some fresh soil, and then the most important thing, light. Lots of it. A south-facing window can work, but a simple grow light is a game changer. And go easy on the water. They just don't need as much inside. So, what's the trade-off? Well, the reward is huge. You get blooms in the middle of winter, and you start the spring with a big, strong, ready-to-go plant. The downside? It definitely takes up space. You absolutely need a good light source, and you have to be vigilant about those pests. Okay, on to our second option, path 2, the winter slumber. This is a really old-school, low-tech method. We're basically going to convince the plant to go into dormancy, kind of like sending it into hibernation for the winter. Now this one's going to feel a little dramatic, but it totally works. You literally dig the plant right out of its pot, shake all the soil off the roots, and then give it a really hard prune. Then you can just pop the bare root plant into a paper bag or a cardboard box and store it somewhere cool, dark, and frost-free, like a basement or garage. All you have to do is check on it once a month and maybe give it a light mist if it looks like it's getting super dry. The pros and cons here are pretty clear-cut. On the plus side, it's incredibly space-efficient. You can store a bunch of plants in one box. It's also super low effort and costs you nothing in electricity. The big con is that it is riskier. It's pretty common to lose a few plants this way, either because they dry out completely or they end up rotting. And of course, no winter flowers. All right, let's talk about our third and final option. Path 3, the next generation. With this strategy, we're not so much focused on saving the original parent plant, but more on creating a whole new army of baby plants for next year. So for this, in late summer or early fall, you find some really nice healthy stems and take a few cuttings. You'll strip off the bottom leaves, dip the cut end in a little rooting hormone that really helps your success rate, and then stick them in some fresh, clean potting mix. The trick is to keep them humid, so putting a clear plastic bag over the pod works great. In just a few weeks, you'll have a bunch of brand new rooted plants. It's pretty cool.
The huge advantage here is space. I mean, you can fit dozens of future plants in one little tray on a windowsill. It is the ultimate space saver. Plus, you're starting the next season with fresh, young, vigorous plants that often grow better than the old ones. The downside? It does take a little effort to get them all propagated and rooted, and your plants will definitely be smaller when you plant them out in the spring.
Okay, so we've walked through the indoor companion, the winter slumber, and the next generation. Now comes the most important part, figuring out which one of these paths is the best fit for you.
Let's just break it all down with this chart. If you've got a big sunny window and you're willing to put in the work for a huge plant in the spring, the indoor companion is your high-effort, high-reward choice. If you have basically zero extra space and you want the easiest possible option, the winter slumber is perfect. And if you're short on space but don't mind a little project, taking cuttings for the next generation is that perfect sweet spot in the middle.
And you know what? There's really no single best answer here. The best method is the one that actually fits your home, your schedule, and what you want to achieve. In fact, a lot of savvy gardeners mix and match. Maybe you bring your absolute favorite plant inside as a companion, and then you take cuttings from all the others. You can totally do that.
So there you have it. You've got the playbook, you've got the strategies. That beautiful geranium you've been enjoying all summer doesn't have to be a fond memory. It now has a future. The only question left is, which path are you going to choose?